Alfredo, please tell me a little bit about this beautiful facility that Simuflight has here in Midrand.
Our facility is indeed, I think, beautiful. It is a building situated in Corporate Park South in Midrand, conveniently and centrally located. Not equidistant, but within easy reach from Grand Central, Wonderboom, Rand Airport and Lanseria, so that all our clients can come here and attend training. Parking is plenty. It is a safe environment. As I said, it is a convenient environment. We have all 3 simulators installed here. We have a manufacturing facility here. We have lecture rooms with audiovisual equipment. So everything that a training facility requires, I think, to deliver an exceptional product.
Alfredo, could you please share with me the benefits of simulator training?
Well, that is a very, very interesting question. Let me start off by saying simulator training has its value independent of cost. A lot of people see simulator training as a way to save cost on the way to getting a type rating. But if you look at it very practically, what we can do in a simulator you would never be able to do in the aeroplane. It relates specifically to emergency procedures and also accident statistics. When emergency procedures are done in an aeroplane, and we can go to the most critical one, which is an engine failure after takeoff, and something goes wrong, you generally write off an aeroplane or badly damage it, and in very bad cases it becomes a fatal accident. And the statistics are there, they show it. There have been a number of these accidents also in South Africa over the years. So in the simulator, if it is type specific enough, we can rehearse the procedures to handle specific failures in absolute safety. Now that relates to type rating training, and also very importantly the pilot proficiency checking that needs to happen every 6 months after the pilot obtains his type rating, where we can then play out scenarios where we can determine what the weather will be and what the failure will be, and let it play out and train the pilot within that context. If you were to try and do that in reality, you would have to find a day that is overcast with bad visibility and find an owner who says, take my aeroplane and see if you don't write it off in the accident that might ensue, and then find an examiner who is prepared to run that personal risk of being on board that aeroplane when he cuts an engine on the crew just as they lift off and are about to go into cloud. So practically it is not possible and not advisable to do that kind of training in the aeroplane. But in the simulator you can rehearse it, you can play it over and over again until the crew get it right.
Tell me a little bit about your Seneca simulator here at Simuflight.
Our Seneca simulator represents the entry level of the simulation that we do here at Simuflight. It has 4 flight models on it, from the very simple Piper Warrior through to the more complicated and more complex single engine, variable pitch propeller, retractable undercarriage Piper Arrow. From there we move on to the Piper Seneca 3, which is a turbocharged piston engine aircraft in reality, and the highest model on it is the turboprop. It's a generic turboprop. The 4th flight model on the Seneca simulator is for a turboprop aeroplane. It is based on the Cessna 425 Conquest flight model, and it is used for generic training in terms of multi-crew coordination. That rounds out our Seneca simulator with its capabilities from simple to fairly advanced training.
Alfredo, please tell me a little bit about your Cessna 208 caravan simulator here at Simuflight.
Our Cessna caravan simulator is a type-specific Cessna caravan. With that, I want to say we used an actual aircraft airframe where the cockpit was separated out of, and we're able to produce a device that is very, very representative. Actually, more than that, it is type-specific to the caravan. You sit in it and it's as if you're sitting in the aeroplane. That's why we use it for the entry-level training into what Simuflight's core business is, and that is type rating training. It is used within our Cessna Caravan type rating course, where a number of hours are spent in the simulator doing normal, abnormal and emergency operations. And once the student, after the ground school and the simulator phase, has qualified to fly the aircraft, we then move on to flying the aeroplane for about 1.5 hours to complete the type rating. It is also used for refresher training, recurrency training, and also instrument renewals and all kinds of instrument training as such.
Federico, please tell me a little bit about your next simulator, the third one, which is the King Air 200 and the Beechcraft 1900D here at Simuflight.
That simulator represents, I think, our pride and joy. It's the most complex simulator we have at the facility. It is again built into the cockpit section of an actual King Air aircraft and is able to type specifically simulate both the King Air 200 and the 1900. With that, I want to say it reconfigures itself automatically depending on the selection that the instructor or that the operator chooses on the instructor station. It will call up the relevant flight model, which is type specific in its performance. We have measured that against pilot operating handbook data, or the 1900. The instrumentation, again, is very type specific, airspeed indicators, etc., so that it is either a 200 type specific simulator or a 1900D type specific simulator. The device, again, like the Caravan, we use within our type rating courses for the 200, King Air 200 and then Beech 1900. After ground school, the candidates progress to the cockpit procedures trainer where they exercise and where they practice the SOPs. Once they pass that gate, they move into the simulator for a number of hours. It can be between 12 and 16 hours in the device to again practice your normal procedures, abnormal procedures and emergency procedures. And once they are proficient on that and they get cleared by the instructors to move on to either the aeroplane or a full motion device, we then proceed to that phase and go and fly the aircraft or fly a full motion device to do the skills test and finish the type rating. Again, as before, we use it for recurrency, type recurrency, refresher training and ATP IF renewals as well.
I understand that you have other offerings to the aviation industry that you'd like to share with us.
Yes, we do. Along the years, in speaking to many people, whether they're aviation enthusiasts or people fascinated by flight, I've had a number of questions asked: what happens in an aeroplane? How is it like to fly an aircraft? And that made us realize that we are in a unique position to offer a flight experience to, as I said before, enthusiasts, maybe the student pilot, maybe the private pilot, but also somebody who is a non-flyer and has always wondered, when he's sitting up back in the Boeing 737 on the way to Cape Town, what is it like up front? We can structure experiences from seeing things like the Northern Lights in the Northern Hemisphere, things that the normal person would never get a chance to see. Even things that a normal pilot in South Africa wouldn't get a chance to see, because you can't see the Northern Lights in South Africa, ever. You'd have to go there and you'd have to be there at the right time at the right place to see them. The other one is possibly a sunset in Cape Town. We've seen the beautiful sunset over the Atlantic from the ground. How many people have seen that beauty while flying? And in Cape Town again with the weather, if you want to see it in reality, you have to pick the right day, with the right setting, with the right weather, and then find somebody with an aeroplane who will take you there. We can create it all in the simulator and get you as close to that reality as you would ever be. And those are the experiences that we can be contacted to get from us. We will gladly give you a quote and take you through what it is like to be a person at the pointy end of the aeroplane.